in front of a cactus as we dig into the shocking news of yesterday. I was traveling a bit, did catch it, had a night to sleep on it, talked with a few folks about it because it is downright stunning to me. I wonder if anyone else feels that way. And basically what we're getting at here is, as you can see, LBMA overstates London holding silver by 3,300 tons. Data submission error led to the publication of an inaccurate aggregate figure for the total silver held in London vaults in March. The corrected figure is 1.143194 troy ounces. It was interesting because Ryan Holman pointed out here, plot twist, that's the silver JPM supposedly added to SLV between 29th and February 2nd. Spoiler alert, it was never there because indeed, here's the shocking part. As Ronan Manley mentions a little bit below, let's get my face out of the way. Interesting, the 3,300 tons of LBMA error is about the same as the iShares claimed it had added over a few days between late January and early February. On a big picture level, the entire LBMA vault data is in question and cannot be trusted. I would certainly agree because maybe to boil that all down, basically, on the Silver Squeeze weekend, SLV claimed that it added 118 million ounces over those 3 days while the price went up and then went down 10% on the second. That was the same day, the second was the same day Rob Keynes came over, and we reported then that I got as far as to ask Rob. I said, Rob, is there any way as a former auditor you can construct any scenario, even a far-fetched one, that this is not fraudulent? He could not come up with it. I asked David Morgan. Nobody else could. That's why I called iShares on the 5th to make sure when you say this metal is added, has it actually been added, or are you working an order? And they said, if the shares are added, that means metal is added. I said, who adds the metal? The custodian. Who's the custodian? JP Morgan. Is that a conflict of interest that, you know, they're doing that given their track record? I can't comment. Alrighty. Now, on top of it, how this ties back in here is the LBMA is saying basically they overcounted the metal in their March report, which I'm going to start digging into that report. There's a few interesting things going on here, but in short, they overcounted. I got 116 million ounces last night. I see a set of figures here saying 106 million ounces, but basically they counted metal that they're now saying was not there. So according to the LBMA's revised data, now that their error has been acknowledged, I'm not sure if there's another way to read this. I've talked to a few people so far, but it sounds like all the metal that they claimed went in, that nobody thought was possible that could have gone in, now the LBMA is reporting that to make those numbers match, they overreported it. And this is a couple weeks after the report showing that they were within weeks of running out of metal. Well, the CFTC is talking about a futures market structure helped designed by Goldman Sachs that tamped it down. And then Benham also talked about how, I presume his agency, I mean, the things he described were from his agency, the specific actions that helped to control the price and volatility in his words. Now, Benham, who talked about transparency, I can't say he's nowhere to be found. He did have an appearance yesterday. I'm going to see if I can find that online. But I don't know any of his constituents that he has responded to with the glaring questions that sit out there on the table. But he passed my deadline. I'm not helping that fraudulent agency anymore. My effort is now shifted on towards spending my time on what action can be taken. Here's another interesting one. The press release has actually changed since last night. It's a little harder to find the numbers because last night they told you, it was interesting the way it was worded. There was just a footnote at the end. But they told you the old amount, the new amount, and there you could subtract the 116 million ounces. Here now it's this article, this is the same link I clicked on last night, so it's been revised. The new one does not show Oh, whoops, I'm on the wrong tab here. Actually, we'll come back to this one. This is the government and oversight of the LBMA, so we can get some messages out to them today. But here, now in this one, it does talk about, I got the right one up here. Wait, no, maybe it's that one. Okay, data error, here we go. Data error submission led to the publication of an incorrect aggregate amount. So they show the new total, they don't show the old total. So you would have to actually go into the report. I got 116 million ounces. On Ronan Manley's tweet, he got 106 million ounces. So somewhere in the ballpark, although check this out, this is kind of bizarre. Here we see a story on Kitco today. Accounting errors caused LBMA to overstate silver supply during March silver squeeze. Now what I don't get is with all these banks out there and transparent regulatory agencies, why are they quoting me? Chris Marcus, the founder of Arcadia Economics, has previously said that the U.S. Mint has been unable to meet physical demand. I guess I said that. I mean, maybe that wasn't at the forefront, but they don't seem to be able to meet it yet. Marcus often states there's been a lack of backing behind the sales of certain silver contracts. Here's what I tweeted last night. Why are they taking my Twitter feed rather than the CFTC? In regards to the latest incident, Marcus tweeted, I feel like I almost have to sleep on this one before commenting further because unless I'm missing something, did they basically just say that they didn't add the 118 million ounces they claimed during the silver squeeze weekend? So now let's see if we can recap this baby. Jeff Christian and the gang, all of which, by the way, you want to know who's in LBMA? Would you guess? Oh, look, they're an oversight governance committee, and then down beneath there. And keep in mind that Ross Ben, CFTC, is designing a futures market structure with Goldman Sachs executives. So, you know. But that's weird. Why are people asking my opinion for this? And then it's funny, on a more cynical side, it's more cynical side than my thoughts on the LBMA. I don't quite get that. I thought I'm a keyboard thumping social media warrior or some shit like that. If I had more people watch my videos than see the way where the places the CFTC contacts. Why can they talk about this stuff when there's an open investigation in other places, and then when questions like this arise that really would require comment from the regulatory body, where is Ross Benham? I know he was scheduled for a speech yesterday. I'm going to see if there's video of that. I wonder if he commented there. Joe Biden, looks like you appointed Ross Benham. Will you comment the transparency of the CFTC? Are you going to clean up Wall Street? Ross, you have access to these guys. You were appointed by whoever it was. My understanding was Joe Biden administration. Joe doesn't call me. But Joe said he was going to clean up the fraud. They all said that. And you have access to these guys. Ross, there's a lot of people, you can like or not like what I'm saying. This isn't just me. It doesn't matter what I think. I'm just putting out the facts. I'm putting out your own speech. Putting out the questions people are asking. Why are your constituents asking me to solve this? Where's Ross? Where's the agency? Where's the transparency? Have they looked at their Twitter feed? Have they looked at their inboxes, their phone calls? Ross Benham, on February 1st, you said you were closely monitoring the silver market. Market would love to, I'm sure the silver market participants would love to hear your comments and things raised in the letter I sent you last week, as well as the latest LBMA error, because it seems to me that's a substantial error. Jeff Curry made some errors, if you want to call them that. A lot of errors happening. But they're not just like mistakes, not like someone spilled a glass of milk on the table. These are errors that are moving the markets. All these institutions have their names on it. When you call them and ask them to explain it, they can't. And Ross Benham on February 1st, one day before the greatest crime in the history of the silver market. In fact, that could actually, given the context, be the greatest crime in the history of the financial markets, given all the things that are contingent upon that silver suppression that you yourself described was such a dangerous situation. And you made these comments that sure don't sound good. The world is awaiting your transparency. Because one day before all that happened, and before the LBMA's calculator broke, and before Jeff Curry went on TV while the price of silver was falling 10%, while his trust was setting records. 2 days before then, they had to go and change the prospectuses because they were so damn scared. 3 days before he went on TV and lied about it again. A couple months before the LBMA finally revealed something honest about how scared they were of running out of metal. Of course, that was a couple weeks before we now find out, oops, they made a mistake. So while they were talking about the record silver holdings, it was all based on incorrect data. So you don't need to listen to what I say. I don't do anything by force. If someone feels safe and protected with what the CFTC is doing, then by all means seek out their information. I will always support what is in a free market. If somebody feels safe with the services offered by someone like Jeff Christian of CPM Group, then by all means, I encourage you to go what you feel comfortable with. If you don't like the way some of these banks do things, and then when you can't get answers to the questions and find the stuff that I'm presenting helpful, then you're welcomed and encouraged to watch what I share along those lines in effort to demonstrate the transparency that the CFT spoke of, but I don't feel has delivered. Sometime this week, I'll have a live Q&A where I will take as many questions as I can answer. Maybe I'll bring on a couple of guests, but I'll focus on that more in the future. More Q&A in some of these sessions. That's what's great about a free market. I don't think the CFTC is worth listening to. There are the questions. Where are the answers? And now there's a rather sizable data error that I consider certainly material and significant. And we'll see if I can get someone on the LBMA to comment, see what they think. I have a lot of questions. We'll see how that goes. But as always, thank you for watching. And don't worry, yes, I did see the stunning news out of this very same CFTC earlier today. And we'll be back shortly. Big day in Silver Week. So lots of things being exposed. And lastly, before we wrap up here, though, I would like to mention I have been getting all the messages and comments about all the things people wish existed in the silver world. A sort of pricing index that wasn't based on fraud and deceit by fraudulent and deceitful organizations, like as we see the members of the LBMA and the COMEX. We had to hear the story of someone I know who was getting badgered by their JP Morgan banker to come in here their solutions. What happened when they asked to take delivery, redemption of an SLV block. But for all the people who are looking for solutions, just know they're being built. And we'll let the market choose and decide, which I think is beautiful. Just like all of my fellow Arcadians who care about honor and freedom and doing things in a way that we would actually be proud to leave behind for our children. And doing it in a peaceful way where the money gets to decide and vote on its own, but has full information and disclosure, which as the founder of the Silver Industry Integrity Committee, whoops, is what I pledged. And anyway, is what we'll continue to deliver. So thank you, and stay tuned. You're going to want to see the new announcement from the CFTC this morning. It is more stunning than you will believe, and I will see you there shortly.